Hi everyone and welcome to our very first IGA talk show. My name is Vincent and I'll be your host for this session. Well, I believe all of us are embracing and navigating to be safe during this COVID-19 phase 1 season onwards. And this talk show is suitable for all of us of different phases of our life too, whether you're a teenager, young adult, married with children, or even a senior. This talk show will provide information about the what and the whys of the topic discussed and hope to clarify any misconceptions or practices in our new norms. So today we'll be talking about mask, the reusable ones and the surgical mask, as well as on hand hygiene using hand sanitizers and or hand soap. And to help us in this session, we have Suzanne, who is our guest speaker, and with her is Dr. Loretta. Can our panelists wave your hands so that everyone can see you? And we also have with us, thank you, here with us also with some friends from IGA, Lindsay and Hilda, who will be asking questions gathered from their friends for clarifications and for understanding. So let us start by giving some time to Suzanne and Dr. Loretta to introduce themselves. Suzanne, please.
Hi, everybody. My name is Suzanne. I work at the Institute of Geriatric and Active Aging, Tan Tock Seng Hospital. Before this, I used to work as a nursing teacher for about 16 years. And one of the topics, a broad topic that we teach is infection control. Under infection control, I do teach the nursing student hand hygiene as well as wearing masks. For free time, I like to go down to the park connector to do walking. And as I walk, I do reflection as well as to keep my body fit.
All right, thank you, Suzanne. And for all our audiences out there, we have the right person here as a panelist for today's session on mask wearing and hand hygiene. Well, next we have Dr. Loretta to give us a short introduction. Dr. Loretta, please.
Hi everyone, I'm Loretta. Thank you very much for tuning to our show today. So I've been working as a doctor for 5 years already, and I'm currently training in geriatrics in Tan Tock Seng. So just to share a little bit with you about our lives now, life has changed a lot since the past few months. And for us, we have been rostered to manage both COVID as well as non-COVID patients. But morale here is very high on the ground, and thank you very much for all your support and outpouring of gifts. So just want to thank you all for everything that you have done for us on the ground, and hope that we have a good time of learning together.
Thank you very much, Dr. Loretta, and thank you our panelists for the introduction. Now let us dive straight into the topic about mask. Maybe we can start off with a simple question for Suzanne. Why do we need to wear masks, and how effective is mask wearing in reducing the spread of COVID-19 virus? Suzanne, please.
Thank you, Vincent. Yeah, wearing mask is very important, and here are the reason. When we cough, we bring out our saliva and our secretion to the environment in front of us. Can you imagine if a COVID-19 infected person coughed, his secretion would be expelled about 2 meters in front of him and around him. So if you happen to be around this person, you might get infected. So having to wear mask is indeed very important. So there are 3 kinds of masks that we are very familiar with. The first one is the surgical mask. This is a 3-layer mask that consists of the 3 layers, the outer fluid repellent layer, the middle filter layer, and the comfortable layer that is sitting next to our skin. Now this surgical mask can protect us for up to 90% against COVID-19 infection. Then we have the cloth reusable mask that has been given to us by our government. Now this mask, the good thing is that it can be washed again and used again the next day. So this mask has an efficiency of protecting us for 50 to 60%. This is the first batch. The newer masks, we are all very excited and happy, and some of us have already received the newer version of the reusable mask, and this mask has even a higher efficiency to protect us against COVID-19 infection, up to 95%. Yeah. Then the next mask that we often heard about is the N95 mask. Name suggests that N95 can protect us up to 95% against infection around us. So this mask commonly is worn by the healthcare worker who are in very, very close contact and managing COVID-19 infected patients. Because of those close proximity with the patient, they have to wear this N95 mask very snugly, and because they wear it snugly and properly, their breathing may get difficult at times, and also prolonged use of this mask may cause some sores around the face region. So these are the 3 common type of masks. Do wear your mask, as if you wear your mask and a person who is infected with COVID-19 also wear the mask, we can effectively bring down the infection rate to very, very low numbers, very low percentage. Back to you, Vincent.
All right, thank you, Suzanne, for the very good explanation about why we need to wear masks. And I'm shocked to hear that a cough, the droplets can fly 1 to 2 meters. No wonder even in the buses or MRT, I don't even need to cough. I just clear my throat, even with wearing a mask. I clear my throat. People start looking at me and start going away from me because everybody is so fearful about the droplets reaching them. Well, we all know basically that for all of us, wearing a mask plays a big part to ensure the spread is kept to the minimum. But the question is, how do we wear the surgical ones properly? Perhaps Dr. Loretta will bring us through this.
Yeah, so thanks, Vincent. So here with me, I actually have a surgical mask. The 2 main things that we need to take note of is that the direction of it is worn properly. First is the outer layer and the inner layer, which is actually the softer part. The second thing that we need to ensure is that the top side is that's worn on the outside. The main thing why is because there is a metal wire over here. So what we do is that we fit it over our face, and on the straps you can hook it around our ear, and then we'll have to extend it and to squeeze the metal part over our nose to ensure that it is snugly fitted, as you can see over the left side when I turn my face. The most important thing is also to ensure that the nose as well as the mouth is covered, because these are the areas in which droplets can actually be expelled from our body as well. So when we want to remove the mask, what we have to do is to just hold over the elastic straps with the 2 sides and dispose it off well, and to use hand hygiene to clean our hands.
All right, thank you, Dr. Loretta, and I hope that audiences out there will have a better understanding of how to wear a normal surgical mask. But I have with me here a reusable mask where there don't seem to be any metal wires here, like you say, for a surgical mask to hold down onto the nose, the bridge over area. So is there a different way, or how do we go about wearing this reusable mask? Loretta?
Yeah, so over here is a reusable mask. It's a 2nd generation of mask that the government has given us. So similarly, wearing it on the correct side, this is the outer layer and this is the inner layer. So when we actually wear it, we put it on our face, and then after that, hook it over our ears. So the good thing about this mask is 2 things. If you were to feel over the top side, there's actually a malleable material which actually allows us to mold it to our nose. Second thing of it is that the ear is the straps are actually elastic, so it actually makes it more comfortable for users as well. Yeah.
All right. So for whatever mask that we may be having, whether it's surgical, N95, or even a reusable mask, the key word is to be well fitted. And to our audience out there, be sure to remember that the key word we hear here is to be well fitted. Well, thank you, panelists, for this short introduction for all of us here today to understand basically, how it goes about to wear masks and effectiveness of wearing masks. Maybe take this time to hand over to our friends from IGA who have received questions from their kakis, their friends, and they may want to pose some questions to our panelists and perhaps verify some doubts that they may have that likely to be surfaced up for all of us. May I invite Linsin to ask the first question. Linsin?
Hey, thank you, Vincent, Suzanne, and Dr. Loretta. What you shared was very insightful. But I have a question. Like me, the face is small, and some of my friends have round face, square face, but does one size fit it all? Could you have some ways that we can adjust so that, the mask fits us better?
Okay, maybe this time, Dr. Loretta, it's not really literally square and round face, it's square shaped face and so on. Dr. Loretta will share with us. Yeah.
All right, so thanks, Linton, for your question. This over here is a surgical mask that I've used earlier. So the main thing that we want to do is to first ensure that when we wear it, the metal thing is well fitted over our face as well, okay, and well molded. Second thing is that if we feel that the mask is actually quite loose, what we can do is to make a knot over here, and then we can wear it over our ears as well. And the third thing that what I do know in the markets is that they actually, or online even, is that there's a plastic connector that can help to pull the elastic straps over over the back of our heads to ensure that it's more snugly fitted as well. Yeah.
All right, Lindsay, I hope that answers the questions.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Loretta.
All right, Hilda, do you have any questions for us, Hilda?
Yes, thank you, Vincent. I have two questions. It's regards to the first batch of reusable masks that were given to us earlier. I have been using this mask nowadays, and I have also washed it about 10 times already. So I was wondering, how can I continue using, how long can I continue using this reusable mask, the first batch that was given to us? Unlike the second batch, we were told 30 washes max. So yeah, that's my first question. Second question is regarding the single-use face mask. Although it is meant for single use, sometimes I find it a waste to throw away after wearing it for a short time. And when the mask is still in good condition. So is it safe for me to reuse the daily mask? Yeah, two questions.
Well, Hilda, I hear your two questions. Actually, I like the second question because it concerns me too. I do go buy food for my family practically every day, lunch and dinner, and I use the surgical mask to go down. You know, does it mean that, you know, I use 2 masks a day, even though it's only a short duration when I'm out there? So maybe for the first question, maybe you get by Hilda, we get Dr. Loretta to answer first. Why do we, how do we go about washing our reusable mask, and how many times can we wash it?
So thanks, Hilda, for your question. Maybe I can just bring us through a few simple steps of how to wash our reusable mask. So the first step is actually to rinse both the front and back of the reusable mask with room temperature water. Then we can put a few drops of soap and then to rinse it carefully, and then subsequently to rinse off the water and to hang it dry. The most important thing that we must remember is not to wring it. And the other thing is also not to use very corrosive detergents. So as you rightly mentioned, how many times can we wash our reusable mask? I think there's both the first and second generation of mask. So for the first generation of mask, essentially it's like a cloth material. So it works the same as with any cloth materials or any clothes that we're wearing. So we can wash it as many times as we want. However, if there's any holes or if the shape is distorted, then it may mean that the quality of it is actually compromised. And in such cases, then we should avoid using it again and to dispose it off. As you rightly also mentioned, is that the second generation of mask, we can use it or wash it up to 30 times. This could possibly be due to the additional filter layer that we have inside as well.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Loretta. And it comes to mind, you know, that when I was washing my reusable mask, the first generation, you know, without knowing the proper steps of washing, I actually scrubbed so hard, you know, thinking that to remove all the bacteria in the reusable mask. And no wonder after 3-4 washes, I can't use it already because it starts to get distorted and have holes everywhere already. So for us, as long as you don't feel comfortable, it's not so much a matter of how many times you wash, as long as the mask is not fitting well and there's the integrity of the mask has been compromised, please do change a second mask. All right. For the second question about the daily use mask, Suzanne would like to help to answer how do we actually keep our single mask or daily use mask, like in my example, and also for Hilda's example, that we just go out for a short while, and is there a way to maintain it, or do we need to actually throw it away?
Yeah, thank you for that question. It's actually a very, very common question. We also think about this a lot and reflect about this. So for the surgical mask, we can use it for a day so long as the mask is not dirty outside, too soiled, or it is moist. Because if it's moist, then the filter layer is been compromised and we cannot use it anymore. We have to dispose of the mask. But if the mask is still dry and relatively clean, because you are sitting maybe in your space, or you just run down, you did not bump into anybody, you can take your mask and then you keep it in some of the device that I will show you now. So you have a box like this, you can keep it in here. So at the end of the day, when you use up the day's mask, throw away, you can clean up this box, either with an alcohol rub, or you can wash it with soap and water and dry this and ready for use at another time. So we have the mask holder as well. We can put your mask here as you go for your drink, and after you come back from drink, you can start to use the mask. Then the other one very commonly used by people is a Ziploc bag. So I think everybody is familiar with this. You can put your mask in there. So the important thing to observe is that you try not to touch the outer surface of your mask. You put it in that position, and then when you want to remove it to use, wash your hand, take it by the handle, and you put it back up. Also not to handle the inside as well too much, because then that is the mask that that covering will cover your face as well. It's in contact with your face. So remember to handle it properly when you are going to reuse the mask again. Yeah, do your hand hygiene. Yeah, thank you.
Okay. All right, thank you to our panelists for all the answers to the practical questions that have been raised for our attention. I myself have been enlightened, especially when the part where I can keep in a Ziploc bag. I have never thought about it. To tell you the truth, I actually hang mine after coming back. I hang on a doorknob, and when I go out again, I just take a use. So now I know how to go about keeping the mask integrity there, and also to protect myself better. Well, as all of us know, that it's equally important in order to minimize the spread of COVID-19. It's not just about wearing a mask, but also to observe good hand hygiene. And just to give our listeners or those who are watching an idea of how many times I've washed my hands this whole year. It's even more than my whole life actually. And we know that it's essential, especially for this particular period of time. So for Suzanne, we'd like to start this segment on hand hygiene. Why is it essential to have good hand hygiene? Suzanne, please.
Thank you, Vincent, especially for the part that you're washing your hand, although many times, but you are keeping yourself safe as well as keep us safe as well. So hand hygiene is very important because, we touch things everywhere. Potentially, our hands is going to be the dirtiest part of our body. So by touching everywhere, we can potentially pick up things that we don't want on our hands, especially COVID-19 virus. So therefore, it makes sense for us to wash our hand. Now, not just wash our hand any old how, but to wash the hand with the 7 steps. These 7 steps of hand hygiene is important because it helps to cover all the surfaces, all the areas of the hand to remove whatever bacteria, viruses that is in contact with our hands. So now we are going to take a step back and watch a video where this video will show us that with the black ink on it, it can tell us that which are the areas we did not cover. Now, for those who have children at home, you may sing a happy birthday song 2 times as you do your hand washing, and this will complete the 7-step hand washing as you hum the happy birthday song 2 times. Yeah.
Okay, now it's time to watch a video on hand washing. Sit back and enjoy.
First, we wet our hands. Then we pump soap on the palm. So now, hand rubbing of the palm together. Interlace your finger, palm to palm. Opposing palm with finger interlace for both sides of your hands. Interlock your fingers and rub across the other hand. Now we do rotational hand thumb rubbing. Now the fingertip rotational back and forth, back and forth. for both hands. And the last will be the rotational wrist rubbing. So all the areas of your hands are covered, and we are going to rinse off the soap. Rinse off your soap, rinse off. And then after that, you dry your hands and you're ready to do your other things.
Wow, as you can see from video, for the children to learn, not just for our children, even for ourselves, that we can actually wash our hands and hum to the tune of Happy Birthday. And as we do it too often enough, our children make it a habit. And I do hope that when COVID is over, our children, when they're singing a birthday song celebrating their children's birthday, they remember to clap, okay? Hopefully that our children out there will not continue to do the hand washing sign when they are, or hand washing steps when they are singing the birthday song to their friends. Well, now we talk about hand washing with soap and water, but hand sanitizers are also available everywhere. Almost everywhere you go, they offer hand sanitizers for us to use. Well, is there a difference between washing with soap and water versus hand sanitizers? Maybe Dr. Loretta can take this question.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Vincent, for your question. So as what we do understand is that both alcohol hand sanitizers as well as washing it with soap and water do have its benefits. What we do also know is that washing with soap as well as running water would be the best option. The reason why is because the soap can help to kill the germs, and the running water ensures that the germs is being removed off our hands. But not all the time we do have this privilege to have a sink right next to us. So what we can do is also to use hand sanitizers to wash our hands. Actually, this is what we practice in the hospitals as well, because every patient right next to their bed, we do have a bottle of hand sanitizers. So both of them do work equally well. And most importantly is that every time we touch something, to ensure that we clean our hands after that.
Thank you, Dr. Loretta. Well, may I pass the time to our IGA friends to pose some questions to our panelists? Maybe Hilda, any questions for our panelists today on hand hygiene?
Yes. Regarding the hand sanitizers, I understand there is the alcohol base, which you all have been mentioning, and the alcohol-free types. Is there any difference between the two?
All right, Dr. Loretta, would like to take this question?
All right, so thanks, Hilda, for your question. You rightly mentioned there's actually two types of hand sanitizers in the market, the alcohol-free as well as the alcohol-based ones. So from what I do understand is that the alcohol hand sanitizers, at least if they have 60% of the alcohol inside the hand sanitizers, is the most effective of it. And the main reason why is because when we use alcohol, not only does it kill the germs, but when it evaporates, it removes the germs together with it as well. But alcohol-free hand sanitizers also do have its benefits, because without the alcohol, it makes it less drying or less corrosive to the hands. And because of this, it can be more child-friendly as well.
Okay, I get it. Oh, so I've been using hand sanitizer so often that no wonder when I'm holding my wife's hand, my wife said, "How come my hands are so dry?" I thought I've been working very hard. No one, or actually it's an impact of the hand sanitizers that I've been using. All right. Well, I think we have one more questions for all of us. Lindsay, do you have any questions for the panelists?
Yeah, like what Vincent said, the hand get very dry. Even he hold his wife's hand, he's like so rough. I also tend to find my hands getting very dry after washing many times. Do you have any advice on how I can keep my skin hydrated? I used to go to the pharmacy to buy like hand cream or moisturizer. Does they help us with our hands drying?
I also agree, Lindsay. It's not just hand sanitizer to make it dry. Even hand washing with hand soap also do. Well, maybe you'd like to hear from Suzanne how to go about keeping it hydrated other than wetting your hands all the time.
Thank you for the question. As our body needs water to hydrate ourselves, we also need to hydrate our hands with hand moisturizer. Now, hand moisturizer are to be used every time after you wash your hand, or at least 3 times a day. So if you want to put hand moisturizer on your hand, do put just enough. Do not put too much. Then it will tend to get sticky and oily, and you may not like the feeling. So another thing that you could do to reduce your hand getting very dry is to not touch, intentionally not touch too many things. So if you don't touch, you know that your hands are still clean. You do not need to go wash your hand, either with sanitizer or with soap and water. Now, also trying not to get your hand too dry is very important as well, because if your hand gets dry and it gets cracked up, those little cracks in your hand may potentially be a source of infection as well. So keep in mind that keep your hand moisturized and keep your hand clean as well. Thank you.
Thank you, Suzanne. Oh, no wonder I know why I don't like to use moisturizer, because I use so much until it becomes sticky. Now I know that I have to use just nice the amount to keep it moist for my hands. But I think, come to think of it, whether it's sticky or not sticky, I will still want to hold my wife's hand as it go along. Well, thank you all for the practical questions. It enlightens me too, especially on the part. Now I know the biggest part is that how to keep my hands moist, how to keep my hands smooth so that my wife can hold more often. And as in this particular season of our talk show, as in this phase one we're having, I do hope that it's informative for all of us to clear any misconceptions about mask and hand hygiene. So for all of us, before we go, I'm not asking you about what you're having for lunch for takeaways, but for all of us, Lindsay and Hilda, what is your one takeaway for today's session? Lindsay, please.
As for Vincent, I used to be like him. If I didn't attend this session, like after that, I'll hang my mask at the door or anywhere that I think is safe for me. But I realized from here, after learning that, I actually learned from Suzanne that how I can keep safe my mask to reuse, like keeping the mask in a plastic box, the Ziploc bag, or even the mask device holder, which is very good for me that I'll do it in future. Yeah, even tell my family about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay, for sharing with us your takeaway. Hilda, what about you? I'm not asking about your lunch, but what's one takeaway from today's session that you had?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for all the sharing, Suzanne and Dr. Loretta. I like the video demonstrating how to wash your hand using the ink, the black ink instead of soap. It clearly demonstrates the importance of washing hands thoroughly and using the 7 steps, to follow the 7 steps. I must admit that I don't follow through all the 7 steps. It's to me, it's a little bit too tedious. But having watched the video, I think I have reconsidered that and really follow all the 7 steps when I wash my hands. Thank you.
Thank you, Lindsay, and thank you, Hilda, for sharing. And to all our audiences out there watching and listening in, we have a summary of today's talk show that will be displayed right after the session. If you have any comments, do visit our Facebook or Instagram page as well. So let's thank our panelists, Suzanne and Dr. Loretta, our senior friends of IGA, Lindsay and Hilda, and to all of you out there joining us today. So from all of us here, stay home, stay safe, and stay healthy. Bye.